This is Coffee, Country, and Cody.
Kelly Sutton was out late at the Opry last night, so I'll have entertainment this morning that will be, well, let's see, headlined by people like Neil Towns, Post Malone, Miranda Lambert, Luke Bryan, Kenny Chesney, and sadness from the Loretta Lynn camp. There's more details on the passing of one of her grandchildren. Charlie Mattos, I was just thinking, you're going to be at the Opry. Kelly was there last night. You're there tonight. I'm there tomorrow, Thursday, Opry Country Classics. Jamie Johnson is our spotlight artist tomorrow. And do you have your lineup in front of you?
I do. Daly and Vince are going to kick it off. Erin Kinsey, who we just love, she's guested with us many times on Coffee, Country, and Cody. Tia Sillers is going to make her Grand Ole Opry debut. The Del McCoury Band, Susie Bacchus, going to get some laughs with Killer Bees. Great to see Ernest back on the Opry stage.
Man.
He's an Opry Next Stage alum.
And he's a co-writer on today's Pick of the Week, Bill Cody Pick of the Week with Post Malone.
Oh, that'll make him some money, too. He should be very happy tonight. And Charlie McCoy going to wrap it up, Country Music Hall of Famer.
I mentioned we're looking at the entrance to the Opry House, but you, Charles Mattos Jr., you are privileged, you among the elite, country music elite, that take the artist entrance to come to the Opry House.
Although many times I have come in the front way paying full price for my ticket.
So glad you said that. Can I tell you a story? J.P. Pennington, lead vocalist, lead guitarist, Exile. We played the Wilson County Fair. I hosted the other. That was the second of two nights. We had Chapel Hart on a Sunday, had them on Monday of the Wilson County Fair. And we were talking about the move. He said, man, I see the pictures of the studio. And then there was kind of a pause. He goes, you know, I have never walked through the front door of the Grand Ole Opry House. Well, I've seen it from the mall. Where is the Acuff House anyway? F1 Trillion. The truck, by the way, is on display. It's a 71 Ford pickup truck featured on the cover of the album. It has a smashed front end because it was dropped into the water to get that shot that you see for the cover of the album. Nose first. It's on display outside Raising Cane's in Dallas right now. Charlie, you said it's actually on tour because you saw it here?
Yeah, well, I saw an Instagram post. It was at Grimey's for a short time, then went somewhere else in Nashville, and apparently it's made its way west now.
And Raising Cane's in Dallas through tomorrow. You can get your picture made. So you can enter to win tickets to one of Post Malone's tour stops. One's coming to your hometown or nearby. Let's talk about Miranda Lambert in the gift of giving through Mutt Nation, a benefit concert. Mutt Nation, of course, May 8th, we had those terrible storms here in Tennessee, so she's helping animals affected by that storm. The nonprofit, established by she and her mom back in 2009, it supports animal shelters in times of emergencies. That's certainly the case in the mid-state. Miranda's holding a benefit show, Nashville's Ascend Amphitheater, and here's how you can remember. It will be WSM's 99th birthday. We came on the air October 5th, 1925, 99 years ago, and that's Ascend Amphitheater Miranda Lambert night.
Would have been my dad's 98th birthday, October 5th.
I forgot about him sharing WSM's birthday. Luke Bryan. Let's talk about Luke Bryan and talk with Luke Bryan. First of all, he's postponed a tour stop in Iowa. We don't know why. It's the Mind of a Country Boy tour. Supposed to be in Des Moines over the weekend. Unexpectedly canceled the show. You got to believe illness or something like that, but we don't know for sure. October the 6th is the rescheduled date. The Iowa Event Center is where it'll be. All tickets for the original August 24th show will be honored for the new date. Luke would want you to know, though, September the 27th, Mind of a Country Boy, for whom the tour is named. That's the new album. And you can pre-sale right now if you go to his website. More details on Mind of a Country Boy from Luke Bryan.
Year after year, it never gets easier. You never coast through the music business. You always have to focus on it. You always have to work hard. You always have to wake up and try to be a little better than you were previous year. I think if you lose that hunger and that drive and that will to survive and fight, and this album is just my best that I can do at this point in my career, and I love the songs.
There it is from the Mind of a Country Boy, Luke Bryan on Coffee, Country, and Cody.
More Coffee, Country, and Cody is on WSM.
Welcome Sydney Irving to the show by way of Syracuse, New York. And in getting to know you a little off the air earlier, you said one boot in Syracuse, one boot in Nashville. And you wore your boots this morning.
I always wear my boots. They're the best. Thank you so much for having me on today, by the way.
Very excited to know that Jolene is your new single. And you've been at this for a while. You were 13, 14 years old when you first started performing regularly, professionally?
I released my first album when I was 14 years old, and it was called Hello Stranger. And it was definitely a 14-year-old's album. I wrote 8 songs and went into the studio and did each one 3 times, and we picked the best one, and that was the album.
So did you save the money and financially back it yourself? Did you have help from your parents? Did you have people that are excited about the possibilities and said, hey, you do this, we'll help you with it?
My parents were super supportive and super wonderful. They still are.
Yeah.
And it was like a birthday gift. They were like, if you want to learn how to do this, might as well do it.
Well, I knew, Charlie, that you were going to fall in love with her because in reading her bio, it says her guiding light is the iconic Tom Petty.
Oh, one can't go wrong being inspired by Tom Petty.
Well, all the country artists that we know have decided to, hey, we'll be a part of that Petty country album, that tribute album.
Absolutely. But he's just one of those guys. I mean, the songwriting is great, but then such a great live performer as well. So if you're going to be inspired by somebody, he's a pretty good one.
Oh my goodness. I'm such a fan of his songwriting. And
Did you get that through your parents? I'm curious. Is that how you came
well,
to it?
so my dad was a big rock fan.
Okay.
My mom was a big country fan. So I grew up with like Johnny Cash, Dolly Parton, of course, Loretta Lynn, Willie Nelson, just all the greats.
Do you have a Post Malone connection in your story somewhere?
I do. So I'm from Syracuse, New York. Post Malone's from Syracuse, New York. And I went and saw him last summer, and I got to meet him, and I was like starstruck. He's so cool.
What were the circumstances that you met him?
Well, so I gave him my album, and he held up the album and made a video endorsing my album. And it's on my Instagram and my Facebook.
Well, you know, he just debuted at the Grand Ole Opry.
I watched it on TV. It was amazing.
And all the Opry artists, and I'm talking about the traditionalists, were just taken by how humble and wonderful he was. And I don't think they expected that from him. Would you agree, Charlie?
Oh, yeah, no, very much so. He seemed to be very gracious and very appreciative of the history of the Grand Ole Opry and everything. And he's a big guy, too. I mean, not he's obviously striking when you see him, but just to be next to him, it's like he's very, I mean, it's a very unique look for sure, right? Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
He's just so talented, though, and he does everything that he does very well, you know?
Yeah, he was the last one to leave. From what
Really?
we understand from security.
He was there past midnight.
And
Wow.
Yeah, and then stayed and talked to the security guard. Just rolled down the windows in his truck and talked to the security guard for 10 minutes. He just wanted to soak in as much as he could. So you and I were talking a little off the air about growing up in Syracuse too. So I read a stat one time, and you can back me up if it's true or not, but that for major cities in the U.S., Syracuse, New York has the fewest sunny days.
Correct.
Is it cloudy a lot in Syracuse?
I could say that's definitely true.
Okay, all right.
I had a general manager, Hugh Barr, who came to San Antonio from Syracuse. And he had the light, the little thing that you wear, you know, to get the sunshine you need that you don't get when you live in Syracuse.
Oh, wow.
Actually, fewer days than Seattle, which is what everybody thinks of when they think of cloudy days.
Yeah. But such a cool city. Obviously, major university, so that gives it an interesting vibe. But it's got a great food scene and music scene as well. And I remember eating at this place called Dinosaur, which I found to be really, the barbecue was great, but just the vibe of the whole place was kind of cool too, right?
Yeah, they have really good food. I love growing up in Syracuse. It's super nice there. And I just talked to my dad on the phone yesterday, and he was like, "It's so hot here." And I was like, "Oh, how hot is it?" He's like, "It's 75." And I was like, "It's 100 degrees in Nashville."
Yeah, we would kill for 75 right now. Yeah. So is he listening or this morning?
Oh, he's listening. Yep.
What's his name?
His name is Scott. Well, I guess Dad to me.
No, but Scott. Hi, Scott. Good morning.
What's his name?
Hi, Dad. Hi, Dad. Good morning.
And your mom, what's her name?
Michelle. She's over here hanging out.
Yeah.
Hey, Michelle. Thanks for coming to see us. She's in the new Acuff House studio. We've only been here like a month and a half, Sydney, in this studio that looks out on the entrance to the Grand Ole Opry House. And I know as you look out on the entrance to the Grand Ole Opry House, you're thinking what every artist who sits in that chair is thinking as you sit on wood from the Ryman stage. I got to do this one of these days.
That's the dream. I would absolutely love that.
You're of the Taylor Swift generation. How impactful is she on you?
Oh, growing up, big Swiftie. I just love her songwriting, and she's just such an inspiration.
So let's go back to your classic catalog a little bit. And we're going to get to Dolly Parton with the new single, Jolene. Charlie, you must first tell the backstory on our mayoral election in Nashville and one of the candidates that was on the show.
It was the year Megan Barry won, whatever year that was. But in the primaries, we did a show remotely from Nashville, where Vince Gill famously has breakfast every morning. Well, Vince Gill talks to people while those with Vince Gill eat their breakfast. I don't think Vince ever actually gets to eat his breakfast at Nashville. But nonetheless, so we did this show with all of the candidates, and Bill was just trying to ask, easy, happy questions. And he asked every candidate what their favorite country song was. And he asked one of the candidates, who I think only got 2% of the vote, thankfully. He said, "Oh, my favorite country song is Dolly Parton's Jolene." And we're like, "Oh, that's a great choice." He goes, "It was our wedding song." I'm like, "Well, okay. Jolene may be a lot of things, but a wedding song, I'd be curious to know if they're still married. Let's just put it that way."
So our question for you is, if somebody asks you to come play Jolene at their wedding, will you do it?
I would probably do it. I'd probably go, I'm not really sure why. Like, you know what I mean? Like, what? Is Jolene at the wedding too?
Yeah. Can I not play Love is Like a Butterfly?
Yeah,
instead?
right.
So just roll off some of your favorite Dolly Parton songs before we get to Jolene.
Oh, man.
That were in consideration. And do you have a full album that contains Jolene?
Not yet.
Okay.
It's
so
in
that's
the works.
Forthcoming. All right.
Yes. Islands in the Stream.
Okay.
So amazing.
Who would you duet with that on if you could pick a dream duet partner?
Post Malone. Would that work? Or
It seems to be contagious these days.
I think so.
Well, I mean, if you want like 1 billion streams, fine, sure. I get that. So. Well, you've opened for Gavin DeGraw. I could see him being a great duet partner too.
He's amazing. Yeah. I had the opportunity to meet him. So nice.
Yeah.
And Cameron Marlowe?
Oh my goodness, yes.
How did that come about?
Well, I still had braces at the time, and it was a long time ago, and he was just really getting out there, and he was so kind and amazing. Like, everybody in the room was just floored at his talent, and now he's doing great things.
And Jesse McCartney, Starship, just lots of folks that you've had an opportunity, at the top of their game to get to know early on in your career. So you're fortunate in that way.
Oh, very much so. I'm so blessed to work with the people that I get to work with and get to jump up on stage and perform. And I love performing. It's my favorite.
And did you not win a Mississippi Music Award?
I did.
How does that happen to a girl from Syracuse, New York?
So the funny thing is, I've never been to Mississippi, which is crazy to me, but just so crazy. I'm so grateful.
Would you submit an album?
I did. Actually, I didn't submit. No, it was fan voted, I believe.
Oh, wow.
And I somehow managed to bring it home to Syracuse. So thank you so much to Mississippi. It means so much.
Well, we're going to feature Jolene. So how long ago did you record this? Where did you record it? Take us back to the day it all went down.
So I recorded it right here in Nashville at Love Shack, and and I got to work with such wonderful musicians, and I was produced by Charlotte McCoy, who's a mutual friend of ours, and it came out on my birthday, which was my 21st birthday, July 5th, and it's out now.
This is Coffee, Country, and Cody.
And this is Sydney Irving in studio. You just heard Jolene before the break. You called Dolly, I read, a lyric goddess.
Oh, she definitely is.
And that's what you hope to be?
Oh my goodness, that would be a dream to write as many wonderful songs as she's written. She's just so infatuating, her songwriting and her story, and I'd absolutely love to meet her someday.
Well, it's a cool version because when you cover such an iconic song, I mean, you can either do it note for note the same or change it up enough. And while you were very faithful to the original, it's got some cool twists to it. So I really enjoyed it.
Thank you so much.
Was that how you envisioned it when you went into the studio, or did it kind of get a life of its own?
How many takes did you do?
So the musicians killed it, and then I think we did 3 takes of vocals. And
that's not. Listen, you live on 3 takes. That's a career right there. That's pretty strong.
Yeah. You're going to be Friday at the New York State Fair, and then in Syracuse, back at home, and then Maplewood in Liverpool, New York, to wrap up the month on Saturday. So that's coming up this weekend. And like you said, you have one boot in Nashville and one in Syracuse, so you're headed back for the weekend.
For those who are going to see you Friday, and people who've known your whole life, would they say that on stage is where they always imagined you to be?
I think definitely.
Yeah.
I think when I step on stage, I kind of feel like myself totally, and I feel like I can express myself exactly how I want to express myself.
Yeah, and there's something sort of, I don't want to say addictive, but I guess it is addictive about the reaction of a live crowd, right?
Oh,
Yeah,
definitely. Yeah. Being on stage is like one of my favorite things ever. And so anytime I get on stage, I'm just so excited.
Would you play and sing for us this morning?
Absolutely.
All right. What are you going to do first?
So I'm going to play you a song by a band called Midland, and it's a song called 14 Years. It has a story to go with it. So for my 21st birthday, my family surprised me with tickets and VIP passes to see them in concert. They're one of my all-time favorite bands. And so at the VIP event, I introduced myself to the lead singer of Midland, and I said, I'm a singer-songwriter, and I cover some of your songs when I play out. And he looked right at me, and he said, well, why don't you come up and do one? I thought my heart was going to jump right out of my chest. I was so excited.
Was this Mark?
Yes, it was.
It seems like that's a Mark thing to do. I love Mark. Yeah.
And so I was like, heck yeah, of course. I jumped up on stage and they handed me one of their guitars to play. And I said, let's do 14 Gears in the key of B flat. And it was just such a surreal moment. And that moment got even bigger because after I finished playing the song, Mark, the lead singer of Midland, he said, why don't you come up tonight during the big show and do it with us again? And I've never played in front of that many people in my life. It was just...
How many people would you say?
5,000 people.
Okay.
And it was just so amazing. And so then, anyway, so after the show, people were posting videos of the performance. So I went to bed seeing the posts. I woke up the next morning to 50,000 views. And it's even more now, 75,000 views. So it's crazy in a good way.
Sydney Irving, I hope your dream of one day playing the Grand Ole Opry comes true as you sit here so close looking at the entrance to the Opry House from the historic Roy Acuff home, our new studio home. Thanks for coming to see us.
Thank you so much. I had such a wonderful time, and you have a beautiful studio, by the way.
Thank you. And it's Sydney at the New York State Fairgrounds playing the West End stage in Syracuse at the State Fair this weekend. On Friday, she'll be there. 7 o'clock show. Then on Saturday, she's off to Liverpool, New York. Sydney will be at the Maplewood Bar and Grill to wrap up August.
Do you have a favorite fair food while you're out there?
Oh man, they're not good for you, but like the
nothing at the fair is good for you.
The deep fried Oreos.
We did a week one time. I filled in on the afternoon show, and every day we ate a different thing. And we did fried Oreos, fried Twinkies.
Ooh.
Deep fried Snicker bars.
Wow.
My favorite though was the chocolate covered bacon on a stick.
Whoa. Okay.
Because you get the sweet and the kind of the savory there.
I've never tried that. I'll have to find it.
Oh, I'm sure. Trust me, it's there. It's there somewhere. Somewhere there's
on the New York State Fairgrounds campus. You will find it. Sydney, again, all the best to you. Thanks for coming to see us on Coffee, Country, and Cody. That's Sydney Irving.